My name is Charlie Nguyen, a filmmaker from Orange County, eventually migrating to Saigon 18 years ago, making The Rebel, and then started my production company here, moving Cinema Picture to Saigon, rename it Chấn Phương Films, producing films ever since.
Welcome to The Vietnamese. I'm your host, Kenneth Nguyen. Being part of a culture of nearly 100 million Vietnamese people in the world today comes with a lot of pain, proud history, and privilege. Join me as I highlight and explore the Vietnamese experience from all over the world.
Yeah, thank you, Charlie. Have you ever thought about what it means to be Vietnamese to you?
Yeah, it's a great question. That's who I am at the core. Even when I was in the U.S., much more connected to just Vietnamese and culture and the language and all of that. Just feel a lot closer as a Vietnamese American. I feel like I'm much more Vietnamese than the American part. Even when I hang out with with the Americans, on production, where there are no Vietnamese, I'm still a Vietnamese.
You come from a long line of an entertainment family. Can we talk about how, who was the first family to really get started?
When I was growing up, my uncle, my younger brother, was an actor, singer, and filmmaker. So he was doing play. He was on stage. He was doing films. And I remember when I was young, he took me to one of his play, and that was quite an eye-opening experience. My first time, going to a theater. My first time being exposed to theaters and stories, and lights and acting and all of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, my first exposure was theaters, through him.
How
And
old
then
were you at the time?
I think it was like I don't know, 7, 8 years old. Yeah, 7, 8 years old. And then I remember I was a big comic fans. Back then, in Saigon, you would go out and you rent, like Blockbuster back in the day, where we rent DVDs, right? Yeah. When I was growing up, we go out, we rent comic books, and then when you finish the whole stack, you go back, return it, and then you get another stack.
Yeah.
So it was like that. I was growing up with comic books. So it's storytelling, but it's a visual medium. I think that's how I got into film through that. Just being in love with story and images. Yeah.
So your uncle is Nguyen Chanh Tin, right?
Yes.
So he was the very first one in your family to get into showbiz.
Yeah, as far as I know, I don't remember anyone else, before him. He was, as far as I can remember back, he was, he was the one that introduced me to, the world of theaters and acting and arts, basically, prior to anything else that I, was exposed to. And he was an actor. He was an actor in very famous in the movies as well. but I was too young, so I didn't watch any of his films until much later. But I saw them on TV, but I didn't catch any of his films in the theaters, in the movie theaters.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's hard for me to think about your family and imagine at some point in history, in the Vietnamese history, that there was nobody in that world in show business, right? So I'm thinking like before Nguyen Chanh Tin, there was like nobody in your family was in show business, and then all of a sudden, this man shows up, and then he produces you and your brother and your sister and other cousins that go on to do a lot of work in the Vietnamese and Vietnamese American showbiz world. And I'm curious to know what the whole family did other than what your uncle Nguyen Chanh Tin did. What kind of was it a military family, a merchant, business family? What kind of
right.
family did you guys come from?
Okay, yeah, good question. My grandfather, my on my dad's side, he was I believe a colonel in the military, and he was fighting against the French colonial, you know, and so and he was also a martial artist, like a professional martial artist, where he would fight, in tournaments back in the days. So his life, which is all about martial art and
Wow.
and military, right? So all his son took up martial arts and becomes master to different degrees, except for my my you know my uncle Nguyen Chanh Tin, which is the youngest brother. He was the youngest brother, and his heart wasn't into the martial arts, although he practiced and he trained and all that. But his heart was more toward arts and theater and films and music. So yeah, the rest of the family, which is all martial artists, and
Wow.
when we were growing up, my father, when we my brother and I, when we were very young, like 5, 6 years old, he would train us, every morning, and then that's kind of push us, both of us, into the martial art world. I mean, we were martial artists before, we becomes involved with filmmaking. So I know Johnny and I, we took up so many different martial arts when we were young. We were really crazy about different kinds, different styles of martial arts. Love Hong Kong movies. Grew up with Hong Kong martial art films, and Bruce Lee and all of that. So, so when we started thinking about film, it's just a natural
Yeah.
merging between, the love of martial arts and be able to choreograph and film it and put it together, and watch it, because we were all inspired by Bruce Lee and the cinema. Everybody knows, if they're old enough, they know the Hong Kong area of martial art, which is pretty famous at the time. Yeah.
So, how old were you when you left Vietnam?
I left Vietnam when I was 10 years old. Yeah, I was in fifth grade. My dad went to re-education camp after the 1975, and yeah, he went to the north. He for 6 years, and then when he got back, we escaped, on boat, my dad and I. and I was 10 years old then.
Wow.
So yeah, I stay in Singapore, Malaysia, and just refugee camp for over a year. So when I got to the U.S., I was 11.
When you got to the U.S., where did you arrive?
Houston, Texas. My dad, older brother, he was a pilot. So before the fall of Saigon, he escaped.
And while you were growing up in Houston with your father, were you thinking of any other subjects to become a in other than films?
When I mean, I was too young. It's 10 years old. It's trying to learn English and trying to adapt to, the whole new, environment. But it was Houston, Texas, where I was exposed to Hong Kong, and Bruce Lee and all those, kung fu cinema. I remember every Saturday, they would have one kung fu movies on one of the channels,
Yeah.
with the dubbing, English dubbing. And that's how I get exposed to, to martial arts cinema, in the U.S. And also I was a fan of comics, and there was so many, when I got to the US, there's just a lot of comics. So I love to draw, right? I would draw all these characters. I would, I drew a lot of Bruce Lee back in the days, all the pose. Of course, training, just practicing martial arts with a group of friends. They were all American. I was the only Asian
Oh wow.
in my school. Yeah. So I was in Houston for I think about 3-4 years, and then my mom, my sister, and my brother, they came over. I didn't know why we went. We didn't go as a family. It was just my dad and I.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then 3 years later they came over, and my mom, she didn't like the weather in Houston. It was just too hot and too cold for her.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's we're moving to California. So we packed up, and on a station wagon, and just drove, from Houston to Orange County.
Wow.
And and then went in high school, and continue to practice martial art, continue to draw, continue to indulge in comic books and film, and movies. And by the time I get to high school, I remember back then before even a camcorder with videotapes, they had this camera that you can record on audio cassette tapes, if you remember, those little 3 inches audio cassette tapes before. Yes. We had DVDs, we have those, and this little camera, you pop the audio, cassette tapes in, and you can film, super blurry, it's black and white, you can't see any details. Yeah. And so my brother and I, we begged our mom to to buy us one of those camera, and we start shooting a lot of different fights choreography, just shooting, because that's all we knew. I didn't know anything about storytelling or anything like that. So it's just all about martial art and putting fight scenes together. and edit them, and then later on start putting sound effects, stuff like that. And eventually it's a fight scene and you want to add a little story into it, so I started writing little scenes here, a little scene there, it's just keep on making all the action short films. And that's how it's all began,
Wow.
which is all play, which is all hobby, there was just we didn't have any mentor, we didn't have any schooling, there was nothing. It was just shoot, edit, and then shoot again and edit and shoot something, which is all, part of, fun. It was, yeah.
As,
So,
as I'm doing the math in my mind, this is
yeah.
still in the 80s, right?
Yes, this is the eight. Yeah.
And you said there's no mentors, there's nobody you can turn to in the Vietnamese community or anybody that that kind of went down this process. And I ask this because I think it leads to a very important thing, which in my mind, as a pseudo historian, I think that when I think about cinema pictures and I think about Thời Hùng Vương 18, right?
Mm-hmm.
Could that possibly be the first feature film that was made in the United States, Vietnamese film, after the fall of Saigon?
I can't think of any other picture before that.
No.
Yeah.
And I remember kind of where I was when I heard about it. What year? That was in 94, right?
Yeah, in 94. I think we started in 91.
Oh my
It took
God.
us
Wow.
3 years. Yeah.
Wow. Okay,
So,
so let's yeah, I bring that up because it's a really important marker, I think, in the Vietnamese film history. So, in 91, you start thinking about it, but leading up to 91, there has to be a lot of things that are happening. So you could even have the balls to really go, okay, I'm gonna make this movie, and we have enough knowledge and money and all of that to even start thinking about it in 91.
it started out not a feature. It started out as a short. Yeah, because I wouldn't dare, right, to make a feature film. So it started out as a short. Um, you know, yeah, prior to that, we were making a bunch of little shorts film, but and it's get longer and longer. They get longer, right? The first is like 20 second, then it's a minute, and then it's 2 minutes, then 3, 4, and it's get longer. And then there's scene, there's dialogue, right? There's a
Yeah.
beginning, there's an ending, and so it's get longer and all. And the short prior to that film, it was like, I don't know, like 20, 22 minutes, um, and I wanted to make a longer short, like maybe a 30 minutes short. It started out as a 30-minute short film, based on King Hùng Vương, right?
Right.
We have Hùng Vương 1 to the 18th, and then Hùng Vương 18 is the last Hùng Vương era, right? So I thought, okay, what happened then? But this must be some kind of a historical, turning point there.
Yeah.
Otherwise we would have Hùng Vương the 19th. We didn't, right? So yeah, so I was reading up on the on that, and realized this is a whole political conflict, and a war was going on with the North, which is China at the time. And so I thought, okay, so there's a lot of story here, material. I can use all these historical facts and to fabricate, write up something. This is fictional, a little period piece, martial arts short. It's about 30 minutes long.
Yeah.
So as we start, writing as I start writing, which is me writing, I felt that, hey, we can make this into like a 40 minutes and then a 50 minutes. So like, hey, we can actually do this like an hour. And then I don't know at which point I thought, we can make a 90 minutes film out of this, out of this story, and it would be great. So it would be a theatrical, length. It's just, thinking about, making a theatrical length movie is very exciting,
Yeah.
I guess that's every filmmaker's like that. You
Yeah.
do a bunch of short and you go, okay, when am I going to make it? The first movie.
But that's a very early part of the history, because I can't imagine like having professional lighting, professional sound, professional, DP guys at your disposal. I mean, there's that really resource around you, or is there?
Yep. Okay. So we, years from making short, I gather about maybe 12 to 15 kids, right? High school, junior high kids. And some friends are in martial arts school. So there was about 12 to 15 of us. I don't recall exactly, but that's it, right? That's the whole cast and crew. We just take turn to act in the film as well. And mainly, which is my brother and I. My brother Johnny, he was a DP. He was a production designer. He was a action choreographer. And cameraman, and I was I was doing the directing, writing and directing.
Yeah.
And my brother is handling everything else, and then the rest are helping us, right? So there's just mainly two guys.
Yeah.
And we didn't have digital, right? We knew we had a by that time we had a Super 16 camera, which I wanted to shoot that short on a Super 16 camera. We were moving from that videotape to video, and then later on we were shooting with Super 8 film, which a huge steps up. And then we finally say, oh, let's step up to Super 16, because there was no digital back then. No, not like today. Yeah. And we made the decision, hey, let's make the 90-minute version of this short.
Wow.
We go, okay, then we have to step up to 35 millimeter, So we sold our 16 mil camera, and we bought this Arri 2C, which is a very old camera, right? But like 50 years old. And it's a sound camera, which means that you shoot MOS, which means that the camera is for B-roll camera. It makes sounds. The shutter. So you can't record live sound. It's for B-roll, right? It's like you're shooting big action sequences, and you would place a bunch of these camera. The sound camera would cost too much, and we can't afford it. Right? We couldn't afford it. Yeah, so that's the only camera we had, and we were shooting the whole. We shot the whole movie with that. We didn't have any sound because the camera would make too much noise anyway. Wow. So it's all have to be recreated. All the sound, all the dialogue, everything has have to be recreated in post. But yeah, we were buying a short ends film, which is in Hollywood they shoot with 1,000-foot roll, and then when the spool almost run out, they cut the film. They throw the remainder away, because you don't want to be shooting in the middle,
right?
like a Tom Cruise movie, and you say, sorry, out of film. That doesn't happen in Hollywood, right? You
So
can't
that
you can't
extra.
say out of film on an actor.
Yeah.
So they always cut off like a minute, 2 minute. That is called short ends, and they resell them. Very cheap.
So
I
wait,
mean,
how do you make a movie with short ends? Because,
it's all short end, yeah.
but
Because we
then,
couldn't afford we couldn't, we didn't have money for the real, for the. So we went up to Kodak and we say, okay, what kind of short ends you have? And they okay, we're just grabbing them. The thing with short end is like when you put it in, you shoot like 2 shots and then you're out of film. Or 1 shot you're out of film. So you have to constantly, like take the magazine out and put
yeah.
it in the dog bag and and then loading a different a spool on. So it was a very it's fun. For us it wasn't like hard work or anything, which is all fun. Able to to make movie with actual 35 millimeter. And Johnny, he didn't have any like DP experience. He didn't
Wow.
have any schooling. There was just nothing, right? All his experience was photography. He I think he took a class in photography. So that's all the extent of his knowledge. And we bought like 4 lights, 4 2K, for Mo Richardson. Four, which is the total movie, the total package. We had 4 lights, 2K, and that's it. Right now you have like 100,000 of kilowatts, and then we had like 8 for the whole movie. So and yeah, it was completely guerrilla. Completely
And
guerrilla.
how do you know if you're doing the right thing? Because you're not getting dailies back, right? How do you know
No.
if things are like too bright or dark?
Yeah, a lot of time. The thing with short ends is that they don't look the same, right? Because none of them look the same, even though the ASA, the film, is the same,
Yeah.
right? When you shoot it, they don't come out the same. One is darker, one is brighter, one is greener, one is bluer, one is redder.
And all of that, was it corrected later, like in color correcting and post?
Yeah, we have to.
Okay.
Yeah, we have to correct. I mean, not digitally correct, but we have to correct on film. Which is a whole. Now is almost obsolete. I'm sure Hollywood still does it, but we went through. I mean, that was our film school. Going from A to Z to finish making that film. We know, okay, so this is how you put a film together.
And at that time, were there other teams that you could consult, like, American teams or any filmmaking teams that were young, that were, like your colleagues or your peers, that you can go and say, hey, this is the process that or was it just really you and Johnny and the other?
That's it. That's it. There was just,
Wow.
that's it. We didn't have any mentor. We didn't have any filmmaker. We didn't know anyone. There was no one, right? I mean, I think at that time there was we looked left and right. There was no no filmmaker, unless we went to LA and start doing PA for a production and
Yeah.
or go through film school. But for us, it wasn't like, okay, let's go to film school and go out and make a movie. But it wasn't like that. For us, it's like, hey, let's get a camera, let's shoot something, let's
All
put it
guerrilla.
together, let's show our friend, let's just have fun.
Yeah.
You
Where did you get the money to make it?
It was. I think the whole movie cost about $320,000.
Holy shit. At that time?
At that time, yeah. So my entire my parents' entire saving, and they were in debts for a long time because of that.
Wow. Did it ever occur to you at the time that you needed to find distribution or some theatrical release somehow?
We didn't even think about that. We just go, hey, let's just make a movie, and then we figure all that part out later. Maybe we'll meet somebody, and then they'll say, okay, this, we're completely ignorant.
Wow, it's like
It's
làm trước tính sau, right?
Yeah, not even tính sao. We didn't know where we had to tính sao. It was just like, let's just do it.
There's several things I want to ask you about during that time period. Very specific things. There's like two things that I want to really hear about. Is at that same time, Asia and Paris by Night, two studios were happening, I think, simultaneously. And I can imagine like they're doing production and they're shooting and stuff like that. I don't know if they were a little bit more ahead of you guys in terms of technical stuff. And then the other question I have is, at what point did our dear friend Stefan Gauger come into the picture of your life at that early junction? Because, obviously he's passed away, but he's a very big part of our film community. And I want to know, I know that all you guys were together in the early days. And so I wanted to hear first about the race of the Paris by Night, Asia, technically where they were at, where you were at. And then I know that you probably shot some stuff with them, some shows, or, where the cross-pollination happened.
Yeah. So before we made that film, that first feature film, I was doing some music video for different pop singers, and some of them were in Asia, some of them were in Paris by Night, and other production as well, smaller production as well. So I was doing music video, but I wasn't gratified, I mean, watching Paris by Night in Asia. I know of them and I watch their videos, and my mom that watched them, but it's not something that I don't have an urge to do it, because it's not gratifying. I have to tell a story, right? I mean, yeah. So a show, a concert, and a music video, it's about the artist. It's not about the filmmaker.
Right.
It's about the music and the artist. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not about you as a storyteller. So deep down, I never liked it, but I did. I was shooting, quite a bit of music video at the time, to just basically to save money to make my own shorts. Yeah. It was never occurred to me that, okay, let's go to film school and learn how to make a film. It was never that. It was like, okay, let's shoot music video, let's save money, let's buy camera, let's buy film. Okay, let's make a short. So it was that. It was just learning, and just grabbing books here and there.
Did you ever end up going to film school?
I did went to UCLA extension program for writing directing.
Yeah.
Much later, because I wanted to write better, and I wanted to be able to talk to the actor. I had a problem. Like I know what I want, but I can't tell them what I want. I can't tell them so they can give me what I want. I was struggling with that. Yeah. So I knew that I had to take courses in writing and directing. And UCLA, they have film extension courses, outside of the
main curriculum.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's taught by, really industry, good industry people, really intensive, so I took that for 2 years, a bunch of, screenwriting and directing.
I also was in that extension. I went to USC. I wanted to brush up and learn more about, so they have these professionals that are working in Hollywood teaching these extension classes that are phenomenal.
Yeah. So it was shorter, right? So it's more Yeah, but it's effective, because these people are not they're not teachers, they are actually filmmakers, so they
Yeah.
share, real,
And
on
the
set experience,
And the students are serious too, because they're like typically a little older, like we were, and
Yeah.
they're trying to just get more and hone in on their skill set. So it's a great. It's if anybody's living in LA and having to go back to school, that's the way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you go back to learn a few things. I wanted to go back to what you said about you didn't have the ability to tell the actors what you wanted, but even though you saw it and you understood it in your head, can you tell me a little bit about that dynamic? Like, what does that mean? Why couldn't you? And I'm guessing I know the answers, but I kind of want to hear you talk about the communication with actors. Why is it that when you know what you want, but you're not professionally trained to tell an actor? What does that mean before and after a class at UCLA Extension?
Okay, so when you don't know how to talk to an actor, you tell them the result of what you want from the scene or from the performance. And then the actor, if they are not trained, if they are untrained, then they would just indicate the result to you. So they would give you the result that you are asking for, but without the process of getting there. Like if you're say if you're um, um, excited about something or nervous about something, right? There has to be a process, internal work, right? You can't just put on a mask of nervousness.
Yeah.
That's result. That's the result we want, but the actor have to do internal work, right? So the nervousness has to come from inside. It has to be genuine. It has to be real. But when I asked for a result, the actor gave me a result, and I didn't feel like they have anything going on inside, but I didn't know how to communicate with them, and I want that result, but I don't want you to give me that result, yeah, I
That's
want
pretty
you
cool.
to find it, deeply within, and give me something, honest,
Yeah.
and not something that you are faking it, So I was struggling with that, performance I'm getting from my actor, which is it's just giving me the result I want, which is not what I, which is what I want, but not how,
Yeah.
I want it. You know what I mean? It's not, it's only the exterior. This was not enough. There was no internal process. So I knew that I had to, I need to take up classes to be able to talk to the actor in a way to help them to get there without telling them that what I want, that's the result I want.
And that's crazy that you even understood that, like to get to that, like you not knowing what you don't know, but you went out and looked for the thing that you're like, there's something wrong here. And it's just mind blowing to think about for me, all those years ago where you had this problem and you're like, I got to solve it somehow. And it's just really mind blowing to think about.
Yeah. So when you make a short film or or anything, you will struggle with many aspects of filmmaking. You go, okay, I don't know how to solve this problem. I don't know how to solve that problem. So eventually, okay, so when I go back, when I make the next short film, I have to be able to solve this problem. I have to be able to know how to solve this problem, right? So it's like you experience something that you don't know, and you have to go back to, there was no school, so it's all self-taught for me.
Yeah.
Up until UCLA extension courses, but prior to that, it was all self-taught. It was just like, okay, how do I solve this problem? Okay, this is how I would do it next time.
It's amazing. So after you make Hùng Vương and the space in between Hùng and the Rebel. You know, before we even get to that, like, how did you meet Stefan?
Stefan and I think we worked on, I believe, music video together. Yeah, we were shooting music video together, and yeah, Dom and Stefan and we were all shooting music video, you know, and that's how we connected, you know.
Yeah.
But we all at heart wanted to be filmmaker.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
But the only work for us was just, all these, music video and concert, like the Paris by Night. It's a concert. It's basically a stage show, right? Not music video, but like a concert, not a live concert, a videotape concert that shot over, a day or two. So Stefan were my either he was a lighting guy or he was he was a cameraman, or he was in grip and electric.
Yeah.
On my show, and then his show, he was shooting stuff on his own too. Yeah. Yeah, that's how we, stay connected.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's decades ago, and you guys are probably in your 20s, and for me it's a very romanticized a time, because I came after that with the Bui brothers, but I knew that before the Bui brothers, that period there existed your time, and Stefan and Dom and all these guys, all these filmmakers that came before the Bui brothers, and it's just always, I always wished that I was part of that time, and that, because it existed. And I think about that, God, what was it like when the early days of Vietnamese American filmmaking? And really, that's the start of it. If I'm being,
Oh, you know who the first guy was before us? It was Nguyen. I think he was the first one.
Wow.
He was the first one.
And I think,
yeah,
Nguyen, I heard that, didn't he like work under Scott or something like that?
I mean, he was. He went to film school. He graduated. I don't know which way. Is in LA, and then he was working for Asia and also Paris by Night, doing a bunch of music video, and then he went back to Vietnam. He did made a film in Orange County. He did with Asia.
Before you guys?
Before us, yeah. Something Rain. I can't remember the name, but Rain something. Yeah, I think he'll be a good guy to talk to. But he made that with Ngọc Lang, one of the singers from Asia,
who passed away shortly after that, I think.
Yes. And then, I believe that was the first.
Wow.
First film, yeah,
feature film.
Then he went to Vietnam, of course, making more movies. Yeah.
So he made Rain, or whatever that title is, before you made Hung Vuong?
Probably because I know Nguyen is maybe 5-6 years older than than me, right? So he started first.
Wow, so he is the first Vietnamese American, or Việt kiều, that, well, is he Việt kiều, or did he come back?
He is Việt kiều. No, he is Việt kiều.
So he grew up in the United States.
He grew up in the U.S. He went to film school in the U.S.
Wow.
And he works for Asia. He worked for Asia, and then he convinced Asia to make a film, but film of Asia, pop artist. So it was a film, but it has all the Asia singer in it.
Got it.
And it's about music. It has a bunch of songs in there. So it was like, hey, let's make a an MV, but a very long version with a story.
Yeah, that makes
So I think that was the first. That was his first movies. That kind of like a movie, but it was like a movie, but it was also like like a very long version, you
Yeah.
know, very long MV of Ngọc Lang,
Yeah, I don't know if I can consider that a feature film, but it is. I get it. It's a feature length, and but the
Yeah, it's vigilante. It has a story, and she play a character, and all of that, So
and they shot on 35 as well.
no, he shot it on a video camera.
Okay, so now we it didn't count.
Yeah, it was shot on a video camera. It wasn't on film. But I know we shot, on film.
Yeah,
We the first one. To shot.
yeah. Now,
Yeah.
from Hung Vuong to the Rebel, what was the journey from that point? Because if you sunk $320,000 of your parents' money into a film that you had no distribution concept, where and how the heck did you go? Let me get back on the horse and then make another movie, and then this time we're going to do it in Vietnam. How did that even transpire?
There was a movie in between that not a lot of people know of. That I made it for 35 grand, which is very cheap. So it was like a rom-com, and the producer gave me $35,000. He said, "Okay, you want to make a movie in Vietnam? You have $35,000, and that's it." So I went back to Vietnam, and I went to Giải Phóng Film, studio, and I sat down with them, and I said, "Hey, I have $35,000, and I would like to shoot this script." Right, so it was a romantic comedy. I knew it can't be like an action movie.
Yeah.
It has to be a rom-com.
Was that Finding Madison?
No, that's not. Finding Madison was something that I produced for a friend in
I'm
LA.
sorry. Yeah, that was much.
This one, it's the English title is Chances Are, but most people knows of it by its Vietnamese title, which is Vật Đổi Sao Dời.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was okay. So we had Paris by Night, Asia, and then Vincent. I don't know if you Vincent, which is do all the comedy, right?
Yes,
Vincent is my cousin. Yeah, my cousin, and I did all his videos, right? It is all videos. So after Hung Vuong, years later, I was just shooting MV and concert, right? There was no opportunity to make a film, but I was involved with some of the Hollywood production. I know at Heaven and Earth, I was involved with in casting. And some movies of the week, I was doing PA work and extra work, just random stuff, right?
So, like MOWs would come to Vietnam and shoot some stuff, and you would work on that in Vietnam.
No, this is when I was this is when I was in LA, right?
Okay.
This is when I was in LA. Yeah, I was doing a bunch of music video for Paris by Night, Asia, and doing a lot of comedy sketches, like Saturday Night Live, for Vincent. It's all these little comedy, sketch, right? So that's where I honed my comedy skill. Yeah, this is how to write a joke, how to set up and pay off, how to turn something not funny into something funny.
Right.
So I learned it through shooting a lot of these comedy sketches, and I told him, hey, let's make a comedy movie, right? Let's go back to Vietnam. I told my cousin, hey, how about let's go back to Vietnam and make a comedy movie, right? Instead of making all these little sketches, we can make the one comedy movie. And he's go, okay, how much would that cost? And I go, I have no idea, but let me start writing if you okay. Yeah. And so I sat down and I wrote this little rom-com. Um, and we went back, and I asked him, how much do we have? And he said, I think I have about 35 grand. That was going from $320,000 to 35. That was just like 4 or 5 years later. Right? Well, not 4 or 5 years, but yeah, a few years later.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I shot the whole movie for 35 grand. Right? So yeah, right? This whole rom-com for 35 grand. And then about 4 years after that, we shot The Rebel. Or 3. Yeah.
Now, with Chances Are, did you sit with like any of the exhibitors in the theatrical to get a release then?
Well, Van Son already has his own DVD, distribution network, right? So it's, on DVDs. I think it was videotapes back then, maybe not DVDs. Yeah, DVDs came later. Yeah, videotape.
So did he end up recouping the initial 35,000?
Oh yeah. We four-walled the movie. We showed it in OC. We showed it in San Jose. I think it was like 4 or 5 different cities. We just rent the theater, four-walled.
Yep.
Then and he just showed it for a couple of weekends, and then later on he put it on videotapes and he would release it on videotapes. So yeah, he made. Yeah, that movie made profit.
So yeah, that's so good to hear, because every time you think about these producers that put money out, you're like, it's just so nerve-wracking to think about like how much money goes in, but being able to pay back a small investment like that is such a great thing.
Yeah. So that one was good in terms of investment.
Returns,
I think he made several times over.
Oh wow. Yeah,
for that film. Yeah. And 3 or 4 years later, my brother Johnny, he was at that time he was taking a break of doing stunt in Hollywood, and he traveled the country, and he emailed me and he said, hey, Charlie, I'm in the north, Vietnam right now, and the scenery is amazing. It's like out of this world, and we have to go out here and make a movie. That was his email. He's like, we have to go out here and make a movie, and okay, yeah, let's plan on it. And so we go, okay, let's make what? What movie can we make? In northern Vietnam.
Yeah.
He's taking some still photo, of the northern Vietnam. It looked incredible. And we started to brainstorm, and it took a long time, but that's how The Rebel came about.
Now, where was the main germ, the main idea, the seed idea for the film come from?
We know that we want to shoot in the northern, landscape of of Vietnam, which has layer of mountain and lake, and it looks, this is really astonishing. How North Vietnam, look. And we wanted to set the film somehow in that world, not in Saigon or not in Hanoi, not in the city, but the landscape of it.
Yeah.
So we knew it has to be a period piece, and we wanted to make a genre film, and we love action and history. So we thought we start off with that, right? So it has to be a historical, action, period piece movie. And started doing a lot of research and growing up, my uncle told us a lot of story about our grandfather, which he was a rebel fighter, who was fighting the French colonialist. So we go, okay, let's make a movie about that era, French domination and free fighter or fighting back. We want that. They want their freedom. So it's going to be a war movie, but not it's on a small scale. And so we took bits and pieces of our grandfather's story, and we designed a film where we could use all these places that we want the film to have. We wanted Hoi An, we wanted to have all these iconic scenery, and we were tailoring the story around that so that it would fit into those types of landscape. So we started building the world around that, and it's just slowly, one day at a time, the story start evolving and becomes what it is. Yeah, we had no ideas what at the start. Yeah, we had no idea. Yeah, it was just one talk after another, which is one day, okay, let's, how about this? Yeah, this would be cool. Yeah, but then this would be cool if we can shoot there. This would be cool if we can have a train, like a 1920 train. Oh, what about the Citroen? These old French a classic car that was imported from France into Vietnam. That would be cool to have those cars in the movie. So
and in those
and then we start guns and it's just talking of what would look good in the movie, and where would we want to shoot that would make this movie look good, and then building, the building block of the story come out of that.
How difficult were the censors at the time?
Very. At the time, I had a censor, shadow me, like everywhere. Like he literally, next to me, sitting next to me.
He was your shadow.
Like shadow, right? Like partner in crime, like literally, like he's like, I look to my right and he's sitting right next to me, like 24/7.
Wow.
Yeah, it's cultural police, and his job is to stick to me like glue. Like make sure like I don't do anything that is sensitive or not shooting the script. I didn't shoot the script, by the way.
but did he know that?
Huh?
Did he know that you didn't shoot the script, by the way?
Oh yeah. Halfway through the movie, I didn't like the ending. I never liked the ending but I couldn't find a better ending.
Wow.
Right? Yeah, so we submitted to Hanoi to get the shooting permit. So it's all I have to shoot the script. He has a script in his hand, and every time I block the scene or stage a scene, he would look at the monitor and he would just stare and make sure that it's aligned, right? Everything is aligned, word for word, everything, in the script. And halfway through the movie, I got a better idea with the ending. Finally, right? I was struggling for a while. I go, man, I wanted a different ending. I want a cooler ending, right? Didn't know how to do it. And then one day it just, struck me, and I found this idea, and I go, okay, I'm going to change everything, right? It starts now. Right? The story going to take a little turn to get there. I didn't tell him, right? I didn't tell him. So I start writing at night, right? And print out, the scene for the next day, and they would pass it out to the actor. They would learn the line. By then, you have to throw away the script, and just reading the scene that we will be shooting the next day. I have a vague idea of where the movie, is going, but I don't have a script. We didn't have time to stop and for me to rewrite the script. We were shooting every day. We were in the jungle, with 100, plus crew and cast. So I can't stop.
Yeah.
Right. So the next scene is like the newspaper, that get released every morning to the actor, right? Which I wrote the night before, right?
And did you have to give it
And
to the censors?
no, I didn't tell him, right? I didn't tell him.
Yeah.
I gave
You
it
just
to
did
the
it.
actor.
Yeah.
I just did it. I just did it, right? And I was hoping that maybe he would, I wouldn't get caught. Yeah, I was hoping.
Yeah.
But I did, right? I did get caught. So after like a couple of scenes, well, he knew that, wait a minute, he's not shooting the script. So he pulled me aside. He go, hey, something is not right. You go, what's not right? He said, well, you're not shooting the script, bro. So I said, uh, is this your first time making a movie? And he's go, well, it's my first time following somebody making a movie in Vietnam. I VQ making a movie in Vietnam,
Yeah.
right? He's go, well, if you know filmmaking, nobody shoot the script. You know that, right? you know. If you no director and the right man, mind, shoot word for word, right? It's a script, it's a blueprint, not,
Yeah.
when you're on set, you got to work with the actor and the set and the location, and things change and shift for the better, right? For the better, things shift for the better, right? So now I'm seeing that there's so many ways that I can make this movie better, and that's so things will start to,
Shit.
yeah. And he's, oh no, you cannot do that. And I said, why? We're making the movie better. Why can't we do that? We our goal is to make a better film, right?
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, don't you want us to make a better movie? I mean, you'll be with us for past 2 months. Everybody working their asses off. We want to make a better movie, don't we? Including you, right? And he's go. I'm not here to to make the movie better. I'm here to I'm here to protect you. I'm here to protect you. And you go, you're not protecting me. You're protecting me. You have to protect the movie, which we want the movie to be better, right? And you go, no. I'm here to protect your ass, right? If you're not shooting the script, you're breaking the law, right? You could be punished, right? So now I'm telling you, I'm protecting you by telling you, I'm protecting you. I'm not being a villain here.
Yeah.
I'm your friend. I'm on your side. I'm protecting you. And I said, okay, I understand, but I cannot shoot the script because I have a better ending, which I'm going for. I'm not gonna go back to the script. So you don't have to check anymore because it won't align. And he said, no, you can't do that. That's that. I'm here to make sure you don't do that. So I have to do my job by telling you that you cannot do that. And he go, okay, so what do you want me to do, huh? What do you want me to do? Because I want to make this movie better than the script. He said, well, you have to submit the new revision to Hanoi and get approval before you can shoot. He said, we're in the jungle. We're not going to send, I can't send in pages to Hanoi waiting a month to come back,
Wow.
and shoot a scene and then write another scene, send to Hanoi and wait a month for censorship. That's not realistic.
Yeah.
We keep on shooting. And he's go, I want to talk to you, when we wrap. And that was on set conversation, by the way, right?
Oh,
so he said, I want to talk to you when we wrap, right? So, when we wrap that night, I met him, privately in the lobby. And he said, you know what? You are, you are in danger of basically losing everything, losing this whole production, losing the whole film. You're not going to make it. You're going to get kicked out the country, right? And with all this film that you shot, it will be all confiscated, right? Like,
wow.
Nothing. There will be no film if you don't shoot the script tomorrow. And I said, okay, so then you have a choice there. You have a choice to stop me tomorrow at 8, at 6 a.m. tomorrow. You can call off and send me home, or you let me shoot. So that would be your choice, not mine, because I'm going to shoot a different ending. I'm not going back to the script. And so 6 a.m., right? I was looking for him, right, to shut down the whole production or not, right? I couldn't find him anywhere, right? And I saw them sat in the, at the catering booth, right? He's no longer by my side. He's no longer holding the script. He was just sitting at the catering, area, drinking coffee, and just ignore me for the rest of the shoot.
The rest of the few weeks more, he's not even around you anymore.
No, he just hang around with at the catering table, eating and just consuming coffee and just mingling with other people.
How worried were you the night where he pulls you aside after you wrap and he has that conversation? How confident and how worried were you that this is going to get shut down?
In my mind, it's like 80-90% it's going to get shut down.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You risk it all just to get it your way.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah, because there's no other way, guys. I have to do it, right?
Yeah. Can I segue into the future real quick? How does that decision and that happening to you that early on in filmmaking in Vietnam affect the future dealings with censorship and the government in your filmmaking career after that point? Because, I could think that, it's like you could talk your way out of everything at that point in your head, right? Because that's a big thing to do. And then for the rest of your time in Vietnam to present day, I think in Vietnamese, I would say, lúc đó anh Charlie coi không ai ra gì. That's heavy. But at that point, it's like it's so ingrained in you that happened so early on. So how do you rectify that, that censorship thinking?
I think part of it is because I don't know Vietnam that well back then.
Right?
Yeah. It was like, hey, why you keep bothering me? Let's just, go away. Let me make, let me shoot my ending. Yeah, it was just, that's naive thinking. Like, it was not, how bad it can be. Okay, if you're going to shut us down, then okay, we have to all go back to Saigon and have to rewrite the whole ending and resubmit the whole, the script, and then, go through that whole process again. And, we're just going to have to be here maybe a few months longer.
Wow.
But if it's come down to that, then it's come down to that. I was thinking in my head, like maybe, we're going to be in Saigon. We're going to be in Vietnam much longer than expected. But the next day he was gone, and I was like, oh, wow.
So did it affect the way you make movies 20 years since then? Because now you kind of like,
there's no censorship. It's different now, there's nobody on set anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So you decide your own fate, right?
Yeah, you take the risk.
Right. If you want to take risk and do something crazy that that the censor won't like, then that's on you. You're gonna face that situation when you put the movie together. They're gonna come down and say, hey, this and that.
The rules, yeah.
Yeah. So nobody's watching you anymore. It's just you make your own decision. For Vietnamese, if the production doesn't have any foreigner in it, foreigner meaning writer, producer, director, and leading cast, you don't have to censor the script even. You just go out and shoot. Yeah, they they changed the laws, so for Vietnamese production, they don't need to ask for permission anymore, for a shooting permit anymore. Yeah. But you have to censor the movie,
Yeah.
right?
Final project, right?
Before it get released.
Yeah.
Yeah, before it get released. Yeah. And I think it's moving toward that will be production company will be responsible for censoring your own material. So you don't need to send it, send your project to Hanoi. But you censor yourself. So if something happened, then it's on you. So it's moving toward that. It's I think in the next 10 years, there won't be the same kind of a censorship structure as we used to have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. We
Yeah.
need to get to that point. But that's a whole nother episode that would take
Yeah,
hours
yeah,
to talk
yeah,
about. I want
Yeah.
to ask you over the last few months, I've become very close with your agent, Peter Trin, here in LA. And I as I talk to Peter, and I know that he reps you, I always wonder though, what I always think about what makes a filmmaker like you decide to, or how difficult is it to move entirely to Vietnam and set up your life in Vietnam, and because you're an American, you grew up basically here in the U.S. That must be was it a tough thing to decide because of your family situation, yada yada yada? And
Yeah.
Peter too.
Yes. I mean, at the beginning, yes. I mean, at the beginning, there was a lot of, traveling back and forth, flying back and forth. But, um, I guess it's even harder for someone who was born in the U.S. At least I was here for 10 years before I left Vietnam, but for not sure, Victor and Ham Tran, believe they left Vietnam when they were even.
I think Victor might have been born here, but Ham was born in Vietnam, I believe.
Yeah, but he left when he was
Baby.
much younger than I.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it was probably even harder for those guys, um, than myself. But yeah, you adapt. You adapt to your new situation. You learn, and you find way to adapt. And you're making new friends, and you creating foundation. And you start building, your leverage, right? In the filmmaking, in the industry, you have to build leverage through your work and your integrity and your box office performance, all of that. And you start building your leverage, one step at a time. Yeah, it's not like, it's not fish out of the water. It's fish out of water, but it's a slow progression of adapting. Yeah.
Do you ever think that you'll be back in the U.S. to live, or do you think Vietnam is going to be home from now on?
No, I always thinking that I'm going to retire in the U.S. Yeah, I miss the U.S. Yeah, I really miss the U.S.
Oh, so interesting. Yeah, because we're in a kind of an opposite boat, right? Because I've always dreamed of retiring in Vietnam, and I hear so many people saying, no, like they want to retire back here in the U.S. They're working in Vietnam, but the grass is always greener. It always seems.
I don't know. I mean, I enjoy going back to California. When I have 6 weeks, even a month, being back to California, enjoying the weather, and be able to drive and do a lot of stuff that you can't do in Saigon. You can't drive. It's just too hectic.
Yeah.
You don't need to drive. You don't need a car in Saigon. But you can enjoy a lot of things in the U.S. that you can't enjoy here. But then the opposite is also true, right? You take the good with the bad, right? There are things here in the city that that you would miss, if you know, in California. Yeah. So yeah, but I figure, if we're here making films for 30 years, 40 years, you would want to go back in the US and just, relax and
Yeah.
just travel and just, chill.
Retire. You know,
Yeah.
your daughter Jasmine, I believe, is a karate champ, right?
Yeah.
I want to ask you if you had much to do with that, or is that something inside of your child that kind of genetics took over, and she was like, I got to go. Like, how much? I get the question I always ask is how much of nature versus nurture.
Right.
Jasmine experience growing up in a family of martial artists.
Um, when she was 7 or 6, I was researching. I was looking up martial arts school near our house in Cerrito, and I think put on the Google map, and okay, here's the Taekwondo, here's the Wushu, here's a so there was just different martial art that I wanted to take her and just sit in and just watch, and I want to see how she respond, right? And see what kind of martial art she like, or even if she even liked martial art at all, because I'd have no idea. But I thought that would be cool if she's into martial art, and we can talk and we can share, and it's we have some common ground.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mocked up like 3-4 different places. So I took her to the first dojo, which is the nearest to my house, right? It was like 5 minutes away.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was okay, let's go to the nearest one, and then and then we'll
Work out. Yeah.
yeah. And then halfway through the session, I asked her, so you wanna do karate? You wanna get in there, and you wanna do, you wanna train? And she go, yes, I do. And she was like 6 years old, right? 6 years old girl. And you would think, I was expecting she was like, being really shy, shaking her head, to go, no, 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 right? But she just, yeah, I want to get in there. I want to train.
Wow.
It was like, whoa. And I told the sensei, the teacher, right? You go, can she just go in there and just start throwing some kick and punch just for fun? And he's go, sure, but there was, but everyone is in uniform, so I don't want, she might feel a little bit left out or alienated because she was in, jean and t-shirts. And then I turned to Jasmine and I go, is it okay if you don't mind just, not having a uniform? And she go, no, I don't mind. So she just, went on the mat and she started kicking and punching, and that's how it started.
Now,
right?
how much of your family's history did she know growing up until that point?
My no, 'cause she was a girl, so she would, so the martial arts stuff was just for the boys, we didn't really talk to the
Wow.
to the the girl, and not her. It was just an urge for me. It's like, I need to, I need to find some common ground, right? Daughter and father, right? And she was in there for the entire session, not wearing a gi.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, she goes, do you like it? He goes, yeah, I like it. He goes, okay, so let's sign up. And so I signed her up, and 2 weeks into her white belt, Chad, her sensei, said, Jazz doesn't need an orange belt. She can go straight from, oh no, a yellow belt. In karate, you go from white, yellow, and orange, right? And he said, after 2 weeks ago, I don't think Jazz need a yellow belt. She'll go straight from white to orange. Just skipping a whole belt.
Holy cow! Wow.
Yeah. And then that's when I knew that, okay, so there's some inheritance here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really do believe in that, the genetic side of,
Genetic, yeah.
humans. Yeah. It comes with it. New thing. It's not so new, but it's called epigenetics. Trauma can be
Yeah.
transferred.
Yeah.
Skills like martial arts and singing and the arts.
Definitely for Jasmine, that was the case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And she was so passionate, right? And later on, she was a national champion, and she was representing the US karate team, competing, worldwide, everywhere. And she's, we travel so much because of her.
Wow.
Yeah. And then later on, she had a few injury. It couldn't compete on that level. She's still trained, but couldn't compete on a professional level because of her injury. And she became the coach, and she was a really good coach, a really great coach, karate coach for the U.S. team. And then she migrate into being not just coaching, a martial art, but she started coaching the soccer team, the football team, strength and conditioning, mental toughness, all of these stuff. So
It's amazing.
yeah.
So impressive. Does any of your children have any inclination towards filmmaking?
Um, there was inclination, but chances didn't 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 lead us to that path. Yeah, for Jasmine, she was into sport, strength, conditioning, martial art, psychology, much more than she was interested in drawing and comics.
Art.
Yeah.
Yeah. Story.
Yeah.
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 There's a lot more subject matter in the movies that you made for me after The Rebel. But I think for me, I'm going to save this for another session because, we're well over an hour and I know it's getting late in Vietnam. But I want to thank you for spending such a long time. I had such a great time. And I think the next time we talk probably will be the next film that you release. Can we maybe get a little bit of what do we expect from you in the near future?
Okay. I have a whole lineup, a whole slate. Yeah. So, I have a film which I'm working with one of the pop singer called Mỹ Tâm. I don't know if you know her. She's one of the pop singers here. So we're making a sort of like a musical comedy with her this this November. And then I have a film which I'm developing with Vincent Ngo. We have been developing that throughout COVID. So Vincent is doing the final touch up on the script, and we hope to get into production after that next year for that one. And then I have another one which I'm working with Tai Hua, one of the actor that we worked on. I worked on many films together.
Yeah,
it's a family dramedy comedy.
You and Tai Hua is like Scorsese and De Niro.
We like to work together. Um, we inspire, by each other. And for that project, we are working with CJ Entertainment in Korea. So so that is set to go into production next year as well. So those three projects I'm directing, and then outside of that, I have actually three other projects that I'm producing next year as well. So one is an action movie for my brother Johnny.
Yeah.
And then one is the first. We like to call it the first outer space sci-fi Vietnam movie.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to everything you do.
Yeah. So there's, through COVID, there's a lot of development. All we could do was just, sit at home and just develop these stories. So now, within this year and next year, we're able to do all these movies. All these movies be able to take off and go to production.
Well, I look forward to all of these films, and I hope that you'll reach out whenever you have a release, and we can, shoot the breeze about these projects, and love to hear the development of Vietnam filmmaking. Yeah, thank you so much, Charlie. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, me too. Had fun. Thanks, Ken. Yeah, good talking to you.
Thank you for listening to The Vietnamese with Kenneth Nguyen. The Vietnamese is produced by Brittany Tran. Special thanks to Jane Nguyen, Catherine Nguyen, Tina Pham, Sydney Jamie, and Christo Trin. Please find us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at The Vietnamese Podcast. You can also find us on YouTube, where you can subscribe, like, and comment. Please rate and give us a review wherever you find our podcasts. Thanks again for listening.